DeAnn Dillard, and I'm here with my friend Pete Middleton. Pete has over 23 years building lifelong relationships here in San Diego. He sold over $2 billion. That's $2 billion with a B in real estate. And he's an expert at building luxury business. And I like to say Pete knows everything. So Pete, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. I'm super pumped to be on this, DeAnn.
Yeah, I appreciate you. And I know you've been around real estate your entire life and you're extremely successful here in San Diego and La Jolla, but you're originally from Boston. So how did you get from Boston to San Diego?
Well, it's an interesting story. I did get from Brockton, Mass, which is around 20 miles south of Boston, to San Diego in a Crown Victoria LTD.
Nice.
And I'll kind of share the story because when I was doing real estate in Brockton, I grew up in real estate. My mother was in real estate. My father was in real estate. My uncle, my aunt. So it was kind of in my blood. And I had been going to the real estate office or real estate sites since I was around 7 or 8 years old. So I was constantly around real estate. I had a passion for it early on. I knew it was something I wanted to get into or dabble in. I didn't know it was going to be my lifelong passion in my career. But I've done a lot of different aspects of real estate. So I'll share a quick kind of timeline so that you and your viewers can get a better understanding of me and where I came from. So I grew up in Brockton, Mass, which is around 100,000 people south of Boston. And at one time, Brockton was the shoe capital of the world. So all the shoe factories were there. However, when the shoe factories moved overseas, Brockton kind of collapsed and the economy collapsed. So it was a very hard-nosed, tough environment to grow up in. But it taught me a lot of life skills that I use to this day that I'm super grateful for. And I started my real estate career after college. I started when I was 21. And when I first started off, like most people, they always say, hey, do I come in and do another job? Do I do it part-time? Do I do it on weekends? So if you're out there and you're thinking about that, I'm going to expand on what I did. And maybe that will set some stepping stones for you to create and build a successful, not only real estate career, but a successful luxury real estate career, because there's two different paths there. So initially I was a teacher. I was a part-time teacher. So I used to work from around 7 o'clock in the morning till 2:30. And then I would grab lunch and go to my parents' office. And I would work in there from usually 2:30, 3 o'clock till 7 or 8 at night. Every day. That's what I did. On weekends, I would work pretty much 8 to 8. And that's how I really established myself, by asking questions and learning, because they didn't have any type of educational program or training program. So I had to go seek it myself. And I'll tell you right now, that was my biggest mistake in my first year, was not having the right training and guidance. It ended up costing me almost $35,000, just mistakes that I made. But I didn't look at it as mistakes. I looked at it as life lessons that I could carry forward and pay forward to other people so they didn't make those same mistakes. And where my life took a major turn was in 1996. I attended a Brian Buffini event in February in Boston. And that was a terrible winter in Massachusetts. I think we had around 16 or 18 snowstorms. I was shoveling snow day and night. I thought that's what I did for a living. And I was showing houses in the snow. And I had a great career going at my parents' company. I was selling between 75 and 100 homes a year by myself. And the average price at that time in that market was $104,000. So you had to do a lot of business to make any headway on professional fees and to really make a quality living. And I went to this Buffini event because I never stopped learning. I never stopped trying to educate myself or get better. And I'll never forget it. So I'm at the event And this guy is sitting next to me. And my parents always taught me to introduce yourself because you never know who you're going to meet. And this guy, Michael, was sitting next to me. He had this beautiful tan. And I said, hey, how you doing? I'm Pete Middleton. He said, oh, my name's Mike. And I said, wow, Mike, you have a great tan for February in Massachusetts, because everybody else was white and pasty because we've been shoveling snow. And I said, where are you from? He said, oh, I'm from the West Coast. So before I asked him another question, because that's how you get to know people, is by asking questions, Michael said to me, so how many houses did you sell last year? And I said, I sold 86. And he said, how much production did you do? I said, 12.5 million. And he said, wait a second. So you sold 86 houses for 12.5 million? I said, yes. He said, how many people are on your team? I said, none. And he said, how many assistants do you have? I said, none. He goes, so you do all that on your own? I said, yes. And I go to every closing and every home inspection, and I did it all on my own. He goes, well, how many hours a week are you working? I said, on average, between 75 and 80 hours a week. He said, wow. And he started laughing in my face. And I said, what the hell's wrong with this guy? Right? There must be something wrong. Maybe he has a screw loose or something. He's got this beautiful tan. Now he's laughing in my face. So I said, okay, well, how many houses did you sell? He said 21. I said, I don't get it. But he said, I did 38 million in production. And I said, so where did you do that? He said, I live in a place called Laguna Niguel. And I said, well, where's that? He said, just south of Los Angeles. And I work around 25 to 30 hours a week. So a big light bulb went off above my head. And I said, I got to go where this guy is. I got to figure this out. So I went through the Buffini event. I went home that night. Of course, it was snowing all night. And I did my best thinking from midnight till 2 because I had no interruptions. Now, keep in mind, guys, this was prior to cell phones and the internet. It was just coming online and so forth. So I didn't get distracted too much with cell phones and people interrupting my time or my scheduled time. But that's when I did my best thinking. And what I did, and everybody out there can do this, is I did a certain exercise called thinking in the future. So in the future tense, I took out a piece of paper and I wrote down and manifested what I wanted my life to be or look like in the future. And I wrote a paragraph that it was October 13th. My car was packed. I sold off half my properties. I gave my house to my older brother, and that I was going to golf across America, and I was going to arrive in San Diego November 30th. And that was my plan. So I got all my courage up, couldn't sleep. I was so excited and nervous. And I went in the next morning to my parents' office, where I was the top salesperson and kind of part-time manager at the age of 25, and went up and had a meeting with my parents. And I'll never forget it because my father was very scheduled. He had a huge desk with tons of papers on it. He had all these things going all the time. They were building houses, flipping houses, doing commercials, selling houses. And I think at that time, that office was selling roughly around 400 or 500 houses a year. And they had 20 people in the office. And my father said, what do you want to talk about? I said, I wanted to let you know I'm going to San Diego. He said, San Diego's great. Love San Diego. Remember, we took that trip years ago and so forth. So he calls up my mother, and now I'm really nervous. And my mother comes up and he says, hey, I got great news. Pete's been working like crazy. He's going to take a vacation. He's going to San Diego for a couple of weeks, and then he'll be back. And my mother said, oh, I love San Diego. Remember, we went to the zoo and we did this and we did that. And the whole time I'm saying, no, you're not listening. And they said, well, go there and enjoy yourself, then come back refreshed and help run the office and do your business and so forth. And I said, no, you're not listening. I'm leaving. Now, keep in mind, guys, I was the heir to their real estate dynasty. Everybody in the city knew us. They had grown up there their whole life. And I was the only one of their sons in real estate. So it came as a massive surprise when I said, no, I'm going to leave. I'm going to leave this business behind. I'm going to leave the business that I would be able to, over time, become the head of that was already established. And I'm going to move to San Diego and start from scratch.
Mm-hmm.
That was the big thing. And they were in shock. And it was a really difficult thing to do. So I golfed across America. I arrived in San Diego November 30th, and I took my exams and I started going around and interviewing at all the different brokerages. I ended up at Remax from 1997 until 2005. I loved Remax. I actually built a team there, and we climbed all the way up to number 21 in the world. And when I left in 2005, I joined KW Williams, and I was part of Keller Williams from 2005 to roughly the end of 2009. And I owned the market center with two other partners here in La Jolla. One was Chris Huller, the other one was Dave Tennant. And I love Keller Williams. It was educational based. They had a lot of good qualities to it, but I wasn't breaking into luxury there. And I was having an issue with that because my whole goal to moving to California was not only to change my location and my mindset and my environment and my life, but also where I could break into luxury, build a luxury career, and benefit from it. Break in, build, benefit. And that's what I want your viewers to get. So in 2010, when I split from KW, I started my own boutique luxury brokerage in La Jolla, California. We were able to build that up to 51 agents. And I always start with the end game and work back. My end game at that time was to sell that company within 5 years. We were fortunate enough where we were able to become the number 4 independent company in La Jolla. And in 2013, Realogy NRT came and knocked on my door and said, would you be open to an acquisition? Because they were the number 3 company and they were trying to move up towards number 1. The number 1 company at that time was Berkshire Hathaway or Prudential. And then that was followed by another company, which was Sotheby's at the time, was just building. They weren't really here as number 2, but there were other companies in competition. So they would immediately leapfrog them by me. In 2014, I sold to Realogy and they acquired Middleton Associates. The rest is history. I loved my time at Realogy. I had a 5-year non-compete and I was there till 2019. And in 2019, I interviewed with all the top agencies, Compass, Sotheby's, Berkshire. I did all my due diligence. I had 12 people on my team, 12 families that I felt responsible for. And I made the decision to join EXP. Now, I'm not trying to make this an EXP call. I want to make this your biggest win today by learning the steps that I took to not only break into luxury, but to build it and benefit. I loved all of the different brokerages I was involved with. They were all great, but none of them gave me stock.
Right.
So Dave Leonard didn't give me stock. Gary Keller didn't give me stock. Realogy didn't give me stock. So that was a big thing. I wanted all the families, associated with me to really benefit. So I knew that was important because I live by the saying, the more people that you help get what they want, you'll get what you want. Yes. And I wanted to help my people and my team members and their families get to a better position. So that was a big, big thing. I mean, we were even offered over 7 figures to join Compass. Wow. Which would have been real easy for me to take. And it would have benefited my family. It just wouldn't benefit any of the other families. And I recognize that. So I took a risk.
Long run, right?
Yes. And I took a risk and I went to EXP because I was able to see that real estate was going to be changing and there were going to be dramatic changes coming over the next 5 to 10 years. So in 2019, October, we joined EXP and now we're building luxury at EXP, which is super exciting because it's from the ground level up and it will be the place to be moving forward because the platform speaks for itself and there's huge benefits. And I'm living proof. I've been there now 31 months, and it's been the best 31 months of my 30-year real estate career.
Wow.
By far. Not even, and don't tell my parents. They'll get up.
That's a big statement. So when you go back and you're thinking about you were at KW, Coldwell Banker, and then you say, oh, I want to be a luxury boutique brokerage. How do you make that shift? How do you just decide I'm going to sell luxury?
It's a great question. I'm so happy that you asked me that, because a lot of people are probably thinking the same thing, saying, okay, so how do you make that transition or that shift, right?
Yes.
Now, luxury is a mindset.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. Luxury is a mindset. And to get into that luxury mindset, you have to put yourself in a position to create a perception of luxury living, luxury lifestyle, luxury real estate, luxury goods. That's the key. And I'll break it down to 3 easy methods.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not in luxury yet, connect with a team or an individual already in luxury who's established. That's one way you can do it. Another way you could do it is to reach out to luxury agents and offer to help them for free. Mm-hmm. You know, don't say it's for free, say it's complimentary, but basically say to them, I would love to hold any properties that you have open, and then knock it out of the park when you do it. Mm-hmm. Over communicate, be dressed to the nines, play the part, put out 50 open house signs, be there early, have a full spread, and just really wow people. Mm-hmm. And connect with people. That's how the easiest way, I think, is to break in and build a luxury business, is by going to an area that you want to be in, finding the top 10% of that area, or the luxury area, and knowing everything about it. Really immerse yourself. So it comes down to how you dress, when you show up, how you act, what your branding looks like, right? Because you have to have a brand that's in alignment with the luxury. It could be a color scheme, a font scheme, right? Mm-hmm. And that's how you bridge the gap, because luxury, like I said, is a state of mind. Luxury is a state of mind. So you have to go to luxury events. You have to put out luxury posts. You have to try to get into luxury properties, because the general public typically doesn't know if it's your listing, or if they don't know the difference. Like I always say, they don't know the difference between a for sale sign, an open house sign, a sold sign, a bus bench, a billboard, a social media post. All they know is that they're consuming content, and they're trying to line you up on where you stand and where you fit. So if you want to go to luxury, do everything luxury, right? Mm-hmm. Be dressed to the nines and cover luxury events. Know what's going on luxurious in your community, or where the private schools are, or where affluent people go, country clubs, yacht clubs, charity events. Connect with all the affluent professions that people need, that affluent people surround themselves with. It could be financial planners, private equity groups, private bankers, accountants, divorce attorneys, estate attorneys, anything like that. And you want to get in front of those people and start building a luxury network. Okay. Because a lot of the luxury business is done 2 ways. It's done with the general public and the people they trust and the people they're connected to, because it's all about relationships. Mm-hmm. And then the other luxury agents. So you never want to burn a bridge. A lot of them have big egos, right? This is the real estate business. Everybody has big egos. So just compliment, and do nice things for them and help them any way they can. And take them to lunch, or take them for drinks and ask them questions and pick their brain. That's the big thing. So when I was trying to break in, here I am, a Bostonian, moving to San Diego. I knew one person. I didn't speak the language because I don't speak correctly. Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to break into places along the lines of La Jolla and Del Mar, Rancho Santa Fe and Coronado and Mission Hills, and all the big price tag zip codes. And what I did, and it takes time, guys, it doesn't happen overnight. is I would offer to do their open houses, or I would take people to lunch, or I would keep seeing similar agents or people at different galas or charities or events. And you just have to be consistent. And I would always be dressed to the nines. My car would always be clean, and I would live the luxury lifestyle. You have to immerse yourself in the mindset of luxury to break into luxury. Then once I broke in, I started building off breaking in on my brand. Mm-hmm. And so that was a certain color scheme, how we advertised, what we did, all those types of things. Everything had a process, and we're always expanding that and always educating on that. We would go to a lot of different types of events, not necessarily in real estate, but just luxury events, and meet people and then keep reconnecting with them and building that database and doing it repetitively. That's how you build that business consistently, years over years over years, and you get to understand how luxury people function, how the affluent buy, what are they looking for, what's important to them, and then just continuously stay connected to them through communication, through events, through parties, through other things. I think that's really, really important, because if you do that, you'll automatically benefit. So that was kind of a brief overview of the whole thing, and we can break it down into other sectors. So what do you feel, DeAnn, this would make it the biggest win for the people that are watching this podcast that they really need at this point in the game?
I think everything you shared, I love that you shared mindset is so important, because absolutely that's true. And I know that you hold yourself very well, you articulate very well, you're very edifying whenever you spend time with people. I always see that. So I know that your mindset is just as important as your sales skills. But when we get down, okay, say that we're building this network and then somebody actually gets a listing appointment, then what happens? What about their confidence? What about their listing presentation? How do they go in there and blow it out of the park?
That's a great question. You know something, you guys, when it comes to luxury or breaking into luxury, you have to have a lot of confidence. Mm-hmm. Confidence is key in real estate. People can see right through if you're not confident, and they're going to test you, because most of the people who own high-end homes are in one way or another professional negotiators or great business people. They've made it in a way in whatever industry they're in by putting in their time and understanding how things work, right? Mm-hmm. They don't completely know it. So you want to be able to advise them and direct them. But the big thing is you want to listen really well. And we have gone from making it all about us to basically asking the affluent homeowner, how can we make this the biggest win for you and your family? Mm-hmm. And setting expectations. How can we make it seamless and easy and less stressful and get them to where they want to go, or to get their goals accomplished? That's the big thing. Because in the past, people would go in and tell, oh, I've sold over $2 billion worth of real estate, and I've done this and I've done that. It's all about them. It's all ego. Now we're making it all about the consumer and saying, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, how can I help you? This is not, you're not just going to be a client. You're going to be a friend of mine for life. I want to treat it in a very professional manner. This is how I do it. This is how I launch it. Now, the first few, it may be beneficial if you don't have that confidence level, or you don't have that track record, right? To leverage, team up with another respected luxury person who has a track record or has systems, and go in with them 50-50, even if you have to go in with them where they get 75 and you get 25, but you get invited to the inner circle and you can see how it works and what happens. That's super, super important. You have to understand behind the scenes what happens and how to launch those listings, how to market them, and how to expose them globally. That's the big deal. A lot of people don't know how to do that. But any market, whether it's luxury or not, it's all perception. And it's all how you get it out there, how you communicate, how you listen, and how you convert people. That's the big thing. because people want you to be transparent. They want you to be direct, and they want you to guide them and advise them. They're used to having advice. They're used to paying for advice. So you have to really listen well and advise them. So rule number 1, stop using the word busy. Use the word scheduled.
About that.
Use the word scheduled, because if you keep saying I'm busy, I'm busy, I'm busy, you're not going to invite more business. You're going to push more business away. The universe is not going to deliver the opportunities. All right. Make sure that anybody who calls you, you call them back, and you pre-frame to them how you work, when you're available, how are you scheduled, you set the expectations for them, and you ask them how do they like to be communicated with. And that's the important thing. Majority of agents right now don't call other agents back, and they don't call clients back. So if you just return calls or return texts, you're way ahead of the game. Then it's just listening to understand, not listening to interrupt. And you have to really create those relationships, because to break into that luxury market, luxury people are kind of guarded, and they want deep relationships. Where they know they can depend on you, they understand you, they know what the expectations are, and that you're going to perform. The other thing I would say is make sure you go on every luxury tour of every new house that's out there. Know the market inside and out. You don't have to be everything to everyone, right? So I think last year in San Diego, roughly, 10, 11,000 houses sold. You don't have to sell all of them. You just have to sell 20. So you have to look at it and say, how am I going to do that? Right? And how am I going to position myself? Is my branding in alignment with what I'm trying to do? Is my, is my color scheme in alignment with what I'm trying to do? Because aesthetically, it has to look appealing, and it has to look luxurious. That's why you see a lot of the companies, they'll have dark blue, or they'll have black, they'll have white, they'll have copper gold. You can't have, in my opinion, bright green or pink or this. I'm not saying you can't do it that way. Maybe it allows you to stand out. I just don't think,
who you are.
Yeah, I don't think many people will relate to it. You want it to look professional. And you have to change your mindset with how you do things, how you carry yourself, how your materials look. You don't have to have your picture all over the place. Be, elevate it, be upscale. And there's a lot of companies you can use if you need collateral. There's a great company here in San Diego that anybody can use nationwide called luxvt.com. LuxVT, luxvt.com will do a lot of the marketing and branding for any new listing that you get. So sometimes if you don't have the listing, maybe you can approach an agent and get in writing, hey, do you mind if I market your property and bring you a buyer or help you in a way? And then show them, be completely transparent and say, this is what they do, and make sure they're okay with it and their client's okay with it. Just like when you go into luxury open houses, which they don't have a lot now, they have scheduled tours, or you go on the different caravans, which you should be on religiously and taking notes and getting up and coming listings. Always ask, is it okay if I take some photos or video? Because some people will not give you permission. They want to control the marketing. But when you do those photos or those videos and you repurpose them with your branding on social media or on YouTube or LinkedIn, people don't know if it's your listing or not. It's funny. They'll reach out to you and say, oh, I saw you at this $22 million house. Congratulations, or this or that. And you always want to be asking people, who do you know is looking to buy, sell, or invest in the next 90 days? Who do you know who's not living in their dream house? Are you living in your dream house? Let me show you how we can do that easily, how we can find you your dream house and then take care of the house that you're currently in, so it doesn't disrupt your life or your wife or your kids' lives or your family, right? And you have to be solution oriented. the big thing with luxury is the people want to be serviced. Typically, they're very demanding. They want to be communicated with, and they want it done the right way. And what does that mean? They want to process. They want to hear from you. They want to see what you're doing. They want to see what the marketing plan is. You have to have all those things. Lux VT will help you with that. Any type of presentations or anything. Make sure you have a luxury site. The site that I use is luxurypresence.com. Tell them Pete sent you. Okay. Luxury Presence is the leader, in my opinion, for luxury websites worldwide. A lot of the top agents use that site. Everybody starts on the internet. That's where they do all their research. So you have to have a really great, luxurious, face-forward site. And keep in mind, guys, I know you may say, well, I'm selling houses right now in condos for 200, 400, 500,000. It doesn't matter. You can always sell luxury and come down and sell those properties. You can't represent an image of those properties and move up. It's really tough. So why not shoot high and think big and then use those other properties as your bread and butter, which you can easily do. And you just have to make sure that your current clients and past clients just say it's important for you to know I'm here not as a luxury advisor. I'm here as your lifelong real estate advisor. I can help you with anything. It doesn't have to be a certain price range. It doesn't have to be considered luxury. You know, I've had people before say, well, my son needs a condo near San Diego State. We don't spend, you know, 400,000 or 500,000. I didn't think you handled that. Well, I didn't do a very good job of communicating the message that I can handle anything, because I just listed a house 3 days ago for 10 million. And those people started off with me 20 years ago as a condo buyer for 625,000. So it just shows you the journey of where you can go with these clients. And a lot of people move into luxury. So you never want to discard anyone. You always want to treat everybody the same. And you always want to try to excel.
So much good stuff, Pete. I want to touch real quick. You said you talked about branding and how important branding is, and you talked about your journey from Remax all the way to EXP. So I've heard from a few people, well, EXP is not a luxury brand, and so I don't want to move over to EXP because I'm trying to get into luxury. What do you think about that?
Well, I get it. And what I would say to them is how much of your luxury business is currently coming from the brand or the brokerage that you're at? That would be my first question.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times people are hiring you for you. They're not hiring you because of the brokerage.
Agree.
And then I would ask, so what you're saying to me, if I hear you correctly, is you only get business because of the brokerage. That you're not getting business because of all the effort and hard work and perseverance that you've put in. It's really the brokerage that's driving your business.
And that won't change.
Yeah. No. You know, EXP is a growing luxury brand. It is going to be unveiled soon. We have all the luxury collateral being built. But here's the deal. The difference with EXP than all the other brokerages is you are an owner of EXP and you own your own business. So that means you get owner's benefits. You get stock benefits. You can make money off of referrals. You can have input, and it's our company, which is great. So it gives you an exit strategy. You get a lot of training. You get a lot of leads and technology. You get healthcare, right?
Yeah.
And like I said, you know, all the other companies, if Dave Liniger, the president of Remax, had called me and said, Pete, you're a great asset to Remax. I'm going to make you part owner and give you stock. I'd still be at Remax.
Exactly.
If Gary Keller had called me and said, hey, Peter, we think you're great. We're going to give you some Keller Williams stock, and we don't want you or your team to move, I'd still be at KW.
Right.
You know, if Ryan Schneider and Ryan Gorman from Realogy had reached out to me and said, look, we don't want you to leave Coldwell Banker Global Luxury as our top team, and we're going to provide you with ownership and technology and print benefits and leads and stock, I would have probably stayed there. But none of that has ever been offered to me until this opportunity. And for all the people listening, I'm not trying to promote EXP. There's a lot of great companies, but everything in real estate is changing. You have to get way out in front of it. And it is by far the biggest no-brainer, best platform I've ever worked on. And it gives me full control. I not only keep more of my revenue, but I now have a huge stock portfolio built up, which gives me options and strategies and exit plans. They've provided me with phenomenal websites and technology, and it's only going to get better because it's very agent-centric. The agents own the company. It's not owned by a Wall Street firm or private equity company or one single person or regions or anything. It's one main company worldwide in 21 countries. We just crossed 80,000 agents. When I first joined, there was just under 16,000. When I first looked at EXP, there was only 3,700 agents worldwide. So that's in the last 36 to 40 months, it's grown from 3,700 roughly to 80,000. And I feel that in the next few years, we'll be close to 500,000 agents worldwide. We'll be in more than 50 countries. And it will be the largest, most prominent, most luxurious real estate company in the world, because the agents and the luxury agents who are here now that are joining every month, the individuals and the teams are driving that, and they're having input, and it's going to go to a new level where we are the leaders in luxury in the upcoming near future. So that's the big thing. People have said that to me. I get it.
Yeah.
And it's tough to see it sometimes, but it is coming, and we will have it all mapped out. And I'm telling you right now, it's going to be the best luxury move you could ever make.
That's incredible. Well, thanks so much. I got so much out of that, and I want to respect your schedule. Where can people find you if they want to reach out to you?
Well, they can find me on at my website. You can go to PeteKnowsRealEstate.com. You can reach out to me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube. I think it's under either Middleton Team.com or PeteKnowsRealEstate.com. You can try both. Or you can always email me, Pete@PeteKnowsRealEstate.com. And listen, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'll help you any way I can. I always try to pay it forward, and I'm always trying to improve. So the more relationships, the more referrals, the better. And I think it's super important to keep growing and stay open-minded and manifest what you want. It's the law of attraction. I believe in that. And just build, let me leave you with this. If you're really trying to break into luxury, all it takes is one listing or one sale, and then promote that everywhere in that community. Spend the money. I don't care if you have to spend the portion of the professional fee that you get from your broker, right? Which is usually, 50 to 70% or 50 to 80%. They keep the rest, but take that amount of money and do big ads in the local newspapers or some of the magazines, or do big direct mail campaigns, or call around that property that you sold, or throw an event, or get involved with a charity event in town or some of the schools or whatever, and leverage that luxury sale, because that's what people are going to remember. When you're in front of them and that you're celebrating the opportunity to help someone get to where they want to go, and that you celebrated that and you got it out there, because it's all perception. And that's how you build a luxury career also, is by being consistent, being out there, and not being a secret agent. Right? DeAnn, you're not James Bond.
No.
You look like a Bond girl, but you're not.
Thank
James
you.
Bond, right?
Right.
Get it out there. You gotta, it's really important.
Just takes one, Pete, and then you just exploit that listing in all areas.
And build off that. That's it.
Absolutely. All right, Pete, thanks so much. I'm looking forward to the next conference because that's when I get to hang out and chat with you. So, yeah.
Shareholders in Orlando, June 18th to the 21st. If people are with other companies, listen, come check it out. What do you got to lose? You got nothing to lose. Know your options. It's your business. You're in charge of your own business. You're an independent business owner. But how much of the company that you're with do you really own? Think about that. You got to blaze that path for your future, and we'll all help you. I love collaboration. I love contribution, and you win through others. The more you put out there, the more it comes back to you.
Absolutely. All right. See you in June.
All right. See you, DeAnn. Have a great day.